Lamar Jackson effect well underway this season, even if it hasn't shown up in the win column. The Ravens offense averaging nearly 2 more yards per rush and pass attempt with Lamar. And look at their pass touchdown percentage was down to 1% with Jackson on the sidelines. You just heard Jeff's report there about maybe taking advantage of some of that the lack of players there in that Dolphins secondaries. We welcome you in here. We've got Dan Orlovsky and Jason McCourty here. Peter Schrager is also along with us. We will have Adam Schefter throughout the show as well. Dan, what do you expect this Ravens offense to look like tonight?
Yeah, playoff environment. And this is a playoff game really for both teams. I think number one, we've talked about that. This is going to be a completely new look for this season when it comes to their offense. There is not a single snap played by this offensive unit with the names you see on the left side of your screen, all on the same team, let alone the field at one time. So this is a team that was historically good offensively last year. Most of these guys were on that team for everybody, I believe, except DeAndre Hopkins. So what do they look like? What's going to be the new wrinkle? What's going to be the new trend that they go to?
Yeah.
I would expect early on to settle Lamar in, maybe to settle some of those pieces in, ton of play action. He's become one of the best play action passing quarterbacks in the NFL. We know the threat of Derrick Henry. Use that to shore up your protection, make sure that you can create explosive plays, get the ball to your playmakers like Zay Flowers in their hands. But I want to see what this unit looks like because as great as they were last year, we just have not seen them do it this year.
I love what you're saying, and as I look at that list of names on there, one that stuck out to me was Pat Ricard. He had his first game back just this past week against the Bears, and he is a huge impact on this offense. I want you to watch him right here. That, my friends, is football. Coming down in a hole and knocking the linebacker on his butt. And when you get that and you get that run game going, it opens up what you just said, the play action pass. Lamar Jackson averaging 15 yards a pass when he's going play action, and that leads the NFL. And I think the biggest thing with that is it incorporates Zay Flowers within this offense. Yes, he gets his catch and run opportunities, but when they go play action and he's getting the ball over the middle of the field and he's able to pick up yards after the catch, to me, for a defense, especially like Miami, that you're missing so many secondary pieces, go right at them because they're going to be, first and foremost, you're going to have to stop the run.
All right, so we've called out a few guys on this Ravens offense. A lot of people are going to be watching out for Lamar. You're, Peter, though, paying attention to somebody else on that Ravens offense. Who would that be?
Yeah, last week in the fourth quarter when they put the game away, obviously Derrick Henry got the bulk of the carries. And on the final drive, another running back, Keaton Mitchell, got involved. Number 34, you might not be familiar with his name. His dad, Anthony Mitchell, played for those Ravens teams in the early 2000s. And they put the game away with a second back. It was Keaton Mitchell's time. He had 4 big carries on this final drive. He had an 8-yard carry that was negated by penalty. And I have spoken to sources in Baltimore. They've been trying to find a way to get him involved. He missed all of last year, his rookie season, with the ACL injury. This year, he is supposed to be a weapon that they can use. So as we get Likely and Ricard and, of course, Lamar back, keep an eye on number 34, Keaton Mitchell, to be used in some schemes and some different plays tonight. They're trying to get him involved in the offense more.
Such a dangerous offense, such a dangerous team because the talent, and there's also the reality that there is urgency.
Yeah.
They are backed into a corner. They do know that it's playoffs or bust or kind of win or go home mindset. I go back to meeting with them when we were calling their game last year in relation to Keaton Mitchell, and they were adamant that he was so important to their team because he brought a different level of speed that no one really else has outside of Zay Flowers. So I agree with Peter, just seeing how they use him. But, man, what a dangerous offense.
Kickoff return, too.
I mean, it's interesting. As we talk about this, we're naming all these different guys that could have a major impact. They are loaded, especially now they're getting healthier. Speaking of health, there's a lot of quarterback injuries that we're monitoring this week. Let's bring Adam Schefter in here with more. Let's begin, Adam, with Jaden Daniels and his status. What do we know?
Laura, full practice this week so far, and so Jaden Daniels is tracking to play Sunday night against Seattle, even though he will be without his wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, who aggravated his quad injury and already has been ruled out. But there is hope that Jaden Daniels now will be back after practicing in full on Wednesday. Missed the one game due to the hamstring injury, but what they've seen so far this week has been encouraging. Meanwhile, the wait goes on for the 49ers quarterback, Brock Purdy, who continues to be limited at practice due to that turf toe injury that he suffered earlier this season. He did a little bit more work at practice yesterday than he did last week, but don't know that it's enough to get him back this week. We'll see what the 49ers decide to do a quarterback. And obviously, if he can't go, Mac Jones would start. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, Joe Flacco returned to practice today after missing practice Wednesday due to a sprained AC joint in his shoulder. If he can't play on Sunday against the Bears, Jake Browning would step back in for the Bengals. But the fact that Flacco was back at all today at practice is an encouraging sign. And two other quarterback notes. Bryce Young, full practice today, tracking to play. J.J. McCarthy, full practice today. He's tracking to play.
Believe it or not, we are just 5 days away to the trade deadline. Can't wait to see which teams decide to make some moves, what happens with all of it. We got Adam and Peter here. Let's start with Adam. What are some names you've heard in trade rumors over the past 24 hours or so?
Well, Laura, I think there's some focus on wide receivers here leading up to the trade deadline. The New Orleans Saints have Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and the veteran Brandon Cooks. They're working to try to re-sign Chris Olave, which would seem to indicate that they perhaps would be willing to listen on the other players like Rashid Shaheed and Brandon Cooks. Those are not the only receivers that are drawing interest across the league. Jacoby Myers could generate some interest. He's asked to be traded. The Raiders are hesitant to move him unless they got an offer that they felt was fair and substantial, and so far that has not happened nor materialized. And of course, there are questions about other players out there right now at the pass rush position, waiting to see whether any of them become free. But we've seen so far in the month of October 8 trades. 8. I would say that the over-under from now till Tuesday might be 5 more, bringing us to 13 by Tuesday. We'll see whether that comes under, whether it comes over, but I would think at least 5 more between now and Tuesday.
All right, some key info there, people. Peter, there's one division you're keeping a close eye on in the coming days. Which one is it?
I think the AFC East is fascinating. I think there's been a lot of dialogue over the Buffalo Bills' need to go and find themselves an outside receiver, a deep threat. The problem is the Buffalo Bills are in salary cap hell. They don't have the wiggle room that a lot of teams do. In fact, they're the worst in the league when it comes to current cap space. So you have to be rational here. And Bills fans might not want to hear this, but last year when they got Amari Cooper, there was some wiggle room to do so. This year, not so much. Meanwhile, the Patriots, everything's turning up Patriots right now. Obviously, they're in the driver's seat in the division with that tiebreaker over the Bills. They have the most salary cap space in the entire league. Are they going to be buyers? Now, we know they traded away Keon White. We know they traded away Kyle Duggar. But was that to clear even more cap space for one more move? And just a real quick point on the other two teams. Dolphins lose tonight. They could be sellers with guys like Bradley Chubb, Jermaine Phillips, and of course, Matthew Judon on the roster. And then the Jets, as uplifting as that victory was last week, they're not going anywhere this year. They have a lot of players in the final year of their contract. Could they be sellers before the deadline as well?
And Peter, you bring up the Dolphins. I think the two edge rushers have drawn some attention across the league. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. I think teams believe that at least one of those pass rushers will be shipped out of Miami by the time the trade deadline hits Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Tonight, the Dolphins play, so this could be the last game tonight.
Oh, well, we lost you there for just a second, but the point still came across, Adam. It was great stuff. Really interesting. I mean, those two players, Chubb and Phillips, they could actually make a lot of teams a lot better, especially contenders. Thanks to you guys. Indy leads the NFL in points, yards, you name it. They lead it, as you can see there. Not currently an area of strength for the Steel Curtain. Of course, that's their opponent. That points per drive, by the way, has not been seen by any team since the 07 Patriots. I mean, that's just how historic this is at this point. Peter.
First.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
They're so good.
They're so good. Peter, how do you expect that Colts offense to continue to roll this week?
They're punishing too. You know, we could talk about Alec Pearson, what he does in the deep game, and we could talk about some of the stuff they do through the air with Daniel Jones, but it really starts up front. And I got a text from an NFL source who said, Quentin Nelson should just wear a gold jacket out there when he plays. This is how well he's playing this season. And he's like, you're going to be on ESPN talking Colts. Why am I not hearing Quentin Nelson being praised? Because he's an offensive guard. All right, we don't do a lot of offensive guard talks. If we're talking about the Colts #1 across the board and Jonathan Taylor having this breakout season, we have to give love to a former top 10 pick at the offensive guard position. Quentin Nelson got engaged over the offseason. Quentin Nelson is now not one of the young guys in the league we always talk about. He's one of the veteran ones, but he sets the tone. He is the captain. He has become the vocal leader in that locker room. And if you watch Quentin Nelson at the line of scrimmage, you get a feel for what this Colts team really is all about. It's not razzle dazzle. It's not so much sizzle. It's we're going to beat you up at the line of scrimmage. And maybe that's what's going to make them relevant come cold weather games in December, January, and who knows, maybe February.
Yeah, his health is a big deal as well. I don't think he's been healthy as much over the past couple of seasons. I think that Peter's talking about the physical presence of their offensive line. I would argue that this is probably the best RPO offense in the NFL right now. It looks so much like the 22 Eagles. Just pay attention to all the different parts of this. So left hash formation into the boundary, Pittman, Jr., Tyler Warren, and then the back, Jonathan Taylor up top. Okay, here comes the motion from the bottom of the screen, and then ball gets snapped, okay? So now it's a four-man surface. There's that offensive line just running double teams, okay? But at the same time, Daniel Jones is reading the defense. If that defensive end squeezes, now it becomes the pass RPO option of that, and it's a high-low read of that hook defender. That hook defender, what does he do? With that linebacker having vision on Daniel Jones. If that hook defender stays inside, we're going to kick the ball to the flat, okay? That's an easy. If he goes to the flat, well, Pittman's just going to essentially replace him when it comes to the depth of that defense. So they're running 3 plays in one there. This is one of my favorites of the season. 2x2, formation into the boundary at the bottom. There goes Warren in motion, ball gets snapped right now. Okay, here's this double team to a backer in space. He's reading the backside backer, the quarterback, Daniel Jones. If that backside backer stays outside, we can either hand the ball off or then we can throw the bubble up top. There's 2 options, or if he goes inside, now with that outside leverage because the cut split, there's Michael Pittman Jr. again replacing it. And the big thing for me on those is Pittman's frame makes this so easy. Those are 3 or 4 plays all getting called at once. It's the most, I feel like, diverse RPO game in the NFL right now.
Wow. Talking to Daniel Jones last week, we asked him about that, the RPO game, and he did it with the New York Giants. Was it that with the Giants that helped him do it now? He was just like, he felt like he had to go through that to get to where he is now. He said the way the Indianapolis Colts do their RPO, he feels like it's above every other team. To your point, when you're showing that for me as a defender, and you're like, all right, he sees a linebacker go here. He can hand it off, he can throw the bubble, or he can throw this. It makes this offense so complicated and diverse to be able to match up against. So when I look at it from a defensive standpoint, what are the things you got to do? You see Sternad right there. You have to build a wall and attack the line of scrimmage. Second, you got to get pressure on Daniel Jones. And I know he's performed well under pressure and against the blitz, but if he's just back there and he can read the defense, he'll carve you up. Buda Baker did a great job against the Indianapolis Colts of just standing still. So much we think on defense that you have to disguise and run around the field, show something this way, rotate this way. There was so many times before the snap, him and Jalen Thompson, they were just standing there, just like this, as safeties, not moving. And I think for Daniel Jones, he's gotten so good at recognizing what the defense is, and boom, right now he knows where to go.
And it's clean for him. Yes. It's like one guy is the person who tells him what to do with the football. So while there's all those different options, it's such a clean process of information because it's one person.
He looks authoritative, which is something that we hadn't seen before. By the